We're on Honkai Star Rail once again. I wanted to make a video on something I'm sure would help some people who are new. In my opinion, this should be obvious to pretty much everyone. However, when I was a new player, I was basically just completely oblivious for like the first few months I was playing as to what comps are good, how the stats even work, and blah 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 blah. And so I wanted to make a quick video for some advice that I'd give on who to pull if you're a new player. And I'm talking new player, like just got in the game, doing some quests for the worlds. Maybe you're like Trailblaze 30 or 40, because people like that can get a lot of pulls from all the planets, the trotters, the chests, and just doing quests in general. So if you're a new player, there are two team comps in specific, right? There is the break comp and there is the Acheron comp. Now, it's already confirmed that Acheron and Aventurine are going to rerun in the 2.6 patch. And there's also going to be Dill and Rappa in the first phase, with Acheron and Aventurine being on the second phase. So if you're a new player, you should be able to farm out enough pulls in time from doing quests, trotters, chests, if you have the time, right? I understand there's some people out there who only play this game 10 to 20 minutes a day. That's who the game is targeted for to begin with, because they want you to spend money in replacement for not spending so much time. However, for those who do have the time, I'd suggest just speed running the world if you can. Actually, no, you don't need to speedrun the world. There's still over a month. So you have over a month to like farm all the planets, the chests, blah 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 blah. Basically, Aventurine is the best sustain for Acheron, and obviously everybody should be aware of how strong Acheron is. Top 3 DPSs in the game, contentious between Fei Xiao, Firefly, and Acheron herself. So you can get Acheron, you can get Aventurine, and likely Pela will probably be rerunning on Acheron's banner if I had to guess. So you have the sustain, you have another debuffer, and then you have Acheron. And then for the moment, until you can get Jiaoqiu on a rerun in the future, I'd probably run like a Gwynaifen, probably is what I'd recommend. So you run Acheron, Pela, Gwynaifen with Aventurine, and you're gonna do some good damage, right? However, I do believe that there is a better team comp, a better option to go for, which is the break comp. Now, if you're a new player, you might not be aware, but break teams are the lowest investment, or at least in specific, the Firefly break team is incredibly low investment. You only need one stat, right? You can get two stats, that being attack or speed. That the three main stats you're looking for your Firefly in specific is attack, speed, and break effect. However, mostly break effect is what matters most. It's what'll let you do the most damage and clear the content the easiest. Once you get higher relic quality, then you can start aiming for and grinding speed substats on your pieces, right? So go for Lingsha. She currently has, I believe, 9 days left, nearly 10 days. The reason I'm recommending this is because it has been leaked that Ting Yun, the real Ting Yun, who is supposed to release in 2.7, is going to be super break related, and she's fire. Now, what this means is, most likely, this is my guess, for the reruns in 2.7, we are probably gonna get Boot Hill, and we're probably gonna get Firefly. I think Boot Hill can be replaceable. However, I think no matter what, we will likely be getting Firefly in 2.7. And if not in 2.7, then it'll be guaranteed likely the beginning of 2.8. And because of that, you can get Lingsha now, then you can get the real Ting Yun, who will fit perfectly, because once again, it is leaks, so it's not completely reliable, right? And even if it is reliable, the Hoyo devs do like to change up kits here and there. However, if nothing changes, she will be a super break support similar to Harmony MC. So let's say you can't get Ting Yun, right? Let's say Firefly and Tingyun are on the same banner. Firefly's rerunning with Tingyun. Go for Firefly before you go for Tingyun, because Tingyun can at least be replaced temporarily with Harmony MC. Harmony MC is already good enough for the break team, especially if you have Firefly and Lingsha. Those two together are already doing amazing, right? And this is where I'd recommend just using Pela, right? Once again, Pela is one of the most universal 4-star supports, works in the Acheron team, works in the break team. Death Shred just works for break effect, right? And for those lucky people out there, if you're somehow able to get Tingyun and get Firefly and get Lingsha, and you have enough pulls left over, I would recommend going for E1 Firefly. If Firefly ends up rerunning in 2.8, all the better. That gives you more time to save up your pulls, because the comp is so much stronger when you have E1 Firefly. For those who don't know, E1 Firefly makes it to where she no longer has to spend skill points in her enhanced state. This is the most annoying part of Firefly, right? Firefly gets a huge speed boost in her ult, which allows her to take multiple turns in a cycle. However, there's also a drawback, which is that obviously she's going to be using a skill point for every single turn she takes. So that's -3 skill points. She isn't skill point friendly in the slightest. However, her E1 does give or make it to where it doesn't use a skill point when she uses her E in her ult, which you're gonna be in most of the time. So basically it just makes her a lot more skill point friendly, allowing you to use your Lingsha skill more often. And depending on what Tingyun does, it may allow you to use Tingyun's skill more often if that ends up being broken. However, keep this in mind, Tingyun in this break team is the most replaceable, simply because it is leaked that her kit is super break related, and Harmony MC, as I said before, is already strong enough and he's completely free. All you have to do is grind quests in Chess and Penacony and you can get him to E6, where he's already incredibly strong. Which, by the way, you don't even need E6, you really only need E4. I'll show you guys here. E4 is what really matters, because it gives the party 15% of his break effect. The entire party gets it. So get E4 Harmony Trailblazer and you won't need Tingyun. Will she be an upgrade over Harmony MC? Most likely, right? Like, this is a 5-star limited versus a free Harmony MC. So yes, most likely Tingyun will probably end up being better overall than Harmony MC. However, if you want to save the pulls or guarantee yourself an E1 Firefly or E1 Lingsha, then you can go for that, right? They're two very strong Eidolons that, if I had to guess, could make up the difference even if you don't have a Tingyun on your team. If you guys don't know, E1 Lingsha, I already pulled her. I folded a little earlier than I originally planned, but that's because I already completely decided that I'm just going to go all in for this break team strategy. Keep in mind, I'm doing this strategy myself, guys. You guys can get way more pulls than I can because you're just starting the game. I'm pretty sure if you clear all planets, all chests, all trotters, all quests, you'll be able to get like over 100 pulls if I had to guess. So for you new players, you have a head start over me. I've gotten Lingsha just now. I had a guarantee after losing the Bailu before. Of course, I went to nearly hard pity. However, that's normal for most people, right? And her E1 is one of, if not the most broken E1 in the entirety of the game. Yes, it's that broken. It's up there with Firefly E1 and Ruan Mei E1. Very strong. Weakness break efficiency increases by 50%. For you new players, you may not know what this is. Basically, the white toughness bar under an enemy's health bar, that'll show how much damage you're able to do the toughness bar when you press E to do an E on your Firefly, or you press Q, right? Everyone does it towards fire or weakness enemies towards a certain type. Firefly is able to implant every single enemy with fire weakness. And because of this, if you have more other fire characters on your team, obviously they're going to be able to do more damage to the toughness bar. So this allows Lingsha to do 50% more damage to the toughness bar, which is huge. The major drawback of break teams is that they have to get through the break bar to be able to start doing big damage. That is the number one drawback. So if you get this, you'll just be eating through toughness bars, and it shouldn't be difficult for you to clear content in the slightest. However, even though this alone is already broken, it gets even better, because when an enemy unit's weakness is broken, their defense is reduced by 20%. Guys, this is, I'm pretty sure, Ruan Mei's E1 basically. Yeah, it is. So Ruan Mei's E1, when she uses her ultimate, ignores 20% defense for every ally. So when she breaks something, it's the exact same thing. So she's basically just a Ruan Mei support with this E1. However, she's a sustain, right? And don't forget, don't sleep on Lingsha just because she's a sustain. Her damage, the damage she's able to deal when decently built, is pretty significant. I'd say it's double to triple of what your Gallagher would do per cycle. Fu Yuan takes a lot of turns, and if you know how to play her correctly, you wait for Fu Yuan to take her turn, then you ult, and then the ult automatically action forwards the bunny by 100%, allowing the bunny to take another turn. This is why I said before, if you get the E1, you're gonna be eating through toughness bars without an issue. So get Lingsha. That's why I mostly recommend her. She is absolutely huge for the Firefly break team. Firefly, her E1 just allows her to, once again, as I said before, not use skill points when she's in her ultimate. And I could be wrong, but I think it also has defense down. I believe her E1 also has defense down when you use her E in her ultimate. I could be wrong though, don't take my word on that. I haven't been on my main account in like months, so I don't remember what Firefly's Eidolons look like, but I'm pretty sure it is something like that. If you're incredibly lucky, E2 Firefly is then even more broken, because alongside the skill points and defense ignore from the first Eidolon, the second one allows her to take an extra turn when she breaks someone, right? There is a limit. It can only happen once at a time, basically. But you break or kill someone, and it allows you to then take another turn and do another E, which once again doesn't cost any skill points because of the E1. So E2 Firefly, incredibly broken. E1 Lingsha, incredibly broken. However, keep in mind that these Eidolons aren't necessary by any means. They may sound juicy, they may sound tempting. However, remember, you can clear everything in this game at E0. This is why I'm recommending this break team, is because it is incredibly low relic investment, meaning you should be able to get semi-usable relics for everyone on the break team pretty quickly, compared to like going for a main DPS like this Fei Xiao and trying to get double crit stats on absolutely every single piece, and then also get the rolls on every single crit stat. Otherwise you have to throw it away. It's a lot easier to build break teams than it is to build crit reliant teams, right? So that's what you should do. If you get lucky, go for Eidolons on either Firefly or Lingsha. However, if you don't, stick with the plan, get Lingsha, skip 2.6, since no one there will be really useful for you if you're a new player. Then wait till 2.7, see if Ting Yun is worth it, right? Look up videos, you know, there should be some people who can at least semi understand the value of Ting Yun whenever we start getting leaks or information on her. So look up videos before you go for Ting Yun, because she likely will be a Harmony MC replacement. So if she's only slightly better, I'd honestly recommend skipping her and going for E1 Firefly instead. However, we'll have to see in the end. So yeah, quick video on what I'd recommend, the two teams I'd go for if I were a new player. The reason I mostly skipped over explaining Acheron is because it's just a lot worse than this break route. The problem is that Acheron and Aventurine are rerunning on the exact same phase of the same patch, meaning most people, unless you spend money, will not be able to get both of them. And no matter how much you glaze Acheron, she falls off quite significantly without her light cone. This is a big issue that Firefly does not have, because one of Firefly's strongest light cones is the Herda Shop light cone, Fall of an Eon. It's literally like a 7%, 8% difference from her limited light cone. It's not significant in the slightest. While with Acheron, she gets her ult a lot slower if you do not have her light cone. So lower investment, lower cost with more damage. I can't recommend the Acheron team over the Break team unless you simply want Acheron, right? Of course, it's all about having fun. However, this is the most optimal way in my opinion. You get Lingsha, you then get Firefly, and then if Ting Yun is really good value, you try to go for Ting Yun as well. And if you decide she's not good value, you go for E1 or E2 Firefly instead. You really don't need Firefly's light cone. I cannot stress this enough. On the Fall of an Eon is already like way good enough for Firefly. It simply isn't worth spending like 70 to 80 pulls on. So that's the video. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace. Like the fool I am, I forgot the most important piece to the puzzle. I forgot to mention Ruan Mei. Now, the reason I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video is because obviously this video is targeted towards new players, and if you're a new player, you likely just don't have Ruan Mei. However, I just thought about it after checking out my video through the editing app, and I realized Ruan Mei is probably going to get a rerun soon, whether it be in 2.7 alongside Firefly or in 2.8 or 2.9. If we're lucky, 2.9, you shouldn't have a problem even if you go for Eidolons for Firefly and Lingsha. However, keep this in mind. If Ruan Mei is confirmed rerunning alongside Firefly for like 2.7 or 2.8, always go for Ruan Mei over any character's Eidolons in that team, because Ruan Mei increases the team's overall damage massively. Okay, I'm not talking a little bit, I'm talking massive difference. So even with how strong the Eidolons are for Lingsha and Firefly, if Ruan Mei ends up rerunning close to Firefly, then go for Ruan Mei over any Eidolons. Okay, not only is she overall just a better upgrade over any of the Eidolons, however, you can also put her in other teams in the future if the break comp ever falls out of the meta, right? That's the best part about getting limited harmonies. Limited harmonies are probably the highest value limiteds in the game because they can just go from one team to another team, right? It's that simple. They fit in the most amount of teams versus these DPSs or niche sustains such as Lingsha. So keep that in mind. If Ruan Mei is going to rerun or does rerun alongside Firefly or close to her, always go for Ruan Mei first. The most optimal team, if I had to guess, will end up being Lingsha, Firefly, Ting Yun, or Fug, real Ting Yun, and Ruan Mei. That should be like the most broken break team in the game, and likely the most broken team in the game for a little while until the 3.0 patches, 3.x patches. We'll probably get a new DPS or a new team comp that completely changes the game, just like Acheron did in Penacony. However, until then, the break comp should be completely fine for a long time. So yeah, just want to interrupt the video real quick. Make sure you get Ruan Mei if she is on a rerun.